Okay, so today I'm going to be reviewing Get Out, which is directed by Jordan Peele. Yes, the Jordan Peele of Key and Peele, who I last saw in Keanu last year, and this year he's doing this, which is drastically different from Keanu. So yeah, I mean, when I first heard of this movie, all the hype surrounding it, I sort of it sounded a bit like Split, and it had that Split vibe to it. So with this video, I'll be doing what I did with my Split review, and for like half of this video will be a spoiler-free, just general review. Last half I'm going to be talking major spoilers. So if you haven't seen Get Out and want to, then watch the first half and switch off after that. I'll be giving you a spoiler warning about halfway through, so look out for that if you haven't seen Get Out. But yeah, when I say it sort of reminded me of Split, it was like the fact that they're both sort of marketed as horror movies, but when you watch them, it's like it really isn't like a scary jump scare fest horror movie like you would get with a lot of modern horror. It's actually like tension building throughout the entire movie. And that's what makes it scary. It's got a very creepy vibe. So yeah, Get Out is definitely on that spectrum, but it's not like a film that's going to make you jump constantly. So if you're worried about that, then don't be. But the film follows a man called Chris, played by Daniel Kaluuya, who seems like he's in like every movie as like a side character. In this one, he really carries the movie very well. But it follows him, and he's in a relationship with a white woman who is called Allison, and she wants him to meet her parents. Now, I totally got his thing when he was like, "Do they know I'm black?" Because it was like, when I get with a girl and it's like, yeah, you should meet my parents, it's like, I instantly don't want to. And when it's like this guy, when it's a little different, when it's like he's a black guy with a white girl, it's like, yeah, you can sort of see where he's coming from, but she assures him her parents are not racist. Of course, they don't know he's black. When he gets there, it turns out, you know, they're eerily friendly to him, but they're like racist without knowing they're being racist, so they'll say things, and it's like, it will come across as racist to him, but they don't really know that they're being racist towards him. And, you know, when he gets there, he notices that they have, like, black servants who almost act really robotic-like. They act really sort of, you know, creepily. And he gets sort of, you know, worried about that. And his friend, you know, he's got this friend, I don't remember his name, he's a big guy. And he's like, yeah, you definitely shouldn't meet this white girl's parents. And he sort of confides in him about it. And the movie really follows his, you know, journey on finding out why things are so creepy and why things are getting so strange. And it really is an entertaining and interesting movie to watch. It's something original that I haven't really seen before. And it was just quite refreshing to see this movie take the turns that it did. And I was constantly guessing throughout. By the end, I walked out, my mind was blown. And I absolutely loved this movie. And I would definitely recommend everyone go and see it. It is worth the hype. I thought it was like brilliant. You know, it keeps the gore to a minimum. So when there is gore, it's not entirely in your face. It's all about the tension and the building of the characters, and that's great. I mean, what was it? Allison, the lady was called Rose, who he was dating. I called her Allison. She's played by Allison Williams, but she does a very good job in this film. You know, it starts off and they're seemingly in a perfect relationship. You know, they're getting on really well. You sort of feel, yeah, I can see these guys being together. It's great, you know. And then, you know, as the film goes on, you start to see the decline of this relationship, and that's what I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, this movie just does everything so perfectly. Everything's done to a T, you know. The background details are actually, like, you know, so well done that you barely notice them. They're so subtle. And everything about this movie just flows in a direction that it's like you can't see what's going to happen next. Now, I'm going to dive into some spoilers right now, because as we get towards the end of this film, that's when things start to go downhill for Chris. Now, he wants to figure out why these black people are acting so strangely, why these white people are acting so strangely towards him. And he discovers things that he probably doesn't want to discover, and we start to see, you know, some stuff that will just make you, like, your skin will start crawling and you'll be like, oh crap, yeah, I can't see where this is going, but I can see that it's getting weird. So, you know, towards the end of this movie, this is where the major spoilers kick in. So major spoilers from this point on. He finds out that the mother is a therapist or a psychiatrist, whatever you want to call it. She uses hypnotism, and Chris is a smoker in this film. And she sort of says to him, you know, it was in the trailer when she was like sinking to the floor, and she's trying to get him to stop smoking, but in actual reality, she's actually trying to get into his head, and he goes to a place called the Sunken Place, where he can see, like, through his own eyes, but he can't control his own body, and that's where it gets weird, you know. In the next scene after this, you know, he starts to see things that he doesn't want to see, and he finds these photos in Rose's bedroom, where she said she's never dated a black person before, but she's dated many of them, including Georgina, who is the housekeeper, who is a black lady. So it's like she's even been dating women before, and that's where things, you start to see and piece things together and think she's in on it too. She's not as innocent as she seems. This is where the relationship's going to crumble, and it really does. It gets dark from this point onwards. Just before this, there's like a party scene, and the father's holding, well, he's playing bingo, and I was thinking this is the best party ever. They're just stopping to play bingo completely sober. But yeah, it's not actually bingo. They're auctioning off Chris's body. And he meets a blind artist who wants to see again, and this is the guy that buys Chris, or has the highest bid on Chris. So it turns out he's locked in a basement. He's in, he keeps getting taken to the sunken place when he hears like a spoon being like stirring tea, because that's what the mother used to hypnotize him in the first place. And this is where he discovers that really sinister things are happening, because when she puts him into the sunken place, he realizes he can't control his body, but this guy, this blind artist who bought his body, is the one who will be inside of him. So Chris will know what he's doing, he'll be able to see what he's doing, he'll be there, but his personality won't be in his own body. And that was actually really clever, and I was sort of thinking this could get really stupid. Like I thought with Split towards the end of that, I was thinking this Beast thing could get really stupid, and then you find out it's actually a comic book movie. With this one, you start to think this could get really stupid, but it doesn't. It really sort of makes sense. And it turns out this creepy groundskeeper and this Georgina, they're actually the grandparents of Rose's character. And it's like they're using these black people, and this is where the sort of racial, it's all about the racial commentary and the racial satire, and this is where it starts to play in. Because it turns out that, they're so racist and everything, but they don't, it's all in good intention. They think that the black people are the superior race because it's like they're great at sports, and, the subtle racism of the film is what pieces it all together, because they're like, that's why they use only black people exclusively. There's another guy who was like a jazz musician who Chris meets, and he takes a photo of him like with the flash on his phone, and he starts to go crazy and screams "Get Out," which is of course the title of this movie. And at first we're thinking he's just having a seizure, he's obviously got some mental problems, but it turns out that he's actually telling Chris to get away from it, because the flash brings them back to their former body. And, he's telling Chris to get out because he wants to warn Chris of the fact that he's going to become one of these sunken people who can't control their own bodies. And the climax of this film is just intense till the very end. It is so, so good. Chris manages to get out of his sunken place, and the brother of Rose tries to kill him. Well, not kill him, take his body to be transferred into this blind man's body. So he clocks him around the head, and he kills the father, he kills the mother, he kills everyone. He gets out of there, and the place is in flames, the building. Rose runs out and tries to kill him with a rifle, and you're just sort of thinking, this is the pulse-pounding tension I needed for this film. This is what I wanted to see, and it just pays off so well. I didn't have a single problem with this movie watching it. I loved it from beginning to end, but this is where the movie really sold me and really made me think, yeah, this is one of, if not the best movie of 2017 so far. I'm absolutely loving it. I can't see a horror movie actually topping this film this year, because it really made me, like, it captivated me. I couldn't keep my eyes off of the screen because it was so good. Now they escape, and the groundskeeper is like chasing Chris, and Chris takes a photo on his phone with the flash, and he comes back to his senses, and he shoots Rose with the rifle, because he says to Rose, "Let me take the rifle, I'll kill Chris." So he shoots Rose, and then he shoots himself because he realizes he doesn't want to be living this way, and he's like giving Chris a chance to escape. And then this is where I was thinking, it's all over, it's all done. A police car pulls up, and he's choking Rose out on the floor, and out walks his friend from the TSA, TS motherfucking A, and he gets out of the car, and he's like, "We have to get out of here, man." And it's just like, That was intense. That was how you make great thriller cinema, and that's why I absolutely love this movie. I love the racial commentary on it. I love the fact that it's, you know, it's all subtle about everything it does. There's nothing that's so in your face that you can't focus on it. Get Out was just a brilliant film, almost a flawless experience at the cinema. I'll recommend everyone go and see it. Believe the hype you've heard. This movie's great. I mean, you've probably seen it by now if you watched all of those spoilers, because, you know, why wouldn't you have? Because you would have turned it off by now. But it's just, I had to talk about the ending of this film and the implications of this film, because it's kind of impossible to make a review without doing that. I mean, I could have done, but it would have been kind of boring because it would have been a short review, because I would have had to hold back on a lot of things. So yeah, I love Get Out. I thought it was a brilliant film, and I recommend everyone see it if you haven't already. Let me know what you thought of Get Out. Did you like it? Did you hate it? I can't imagine anyone hating this thing, but if you did, let me know. I'd be interested to know. Thank you guys for watching my review of Get Out, and I'll be back soon. I'm plowing through Iron Fist at the moment. I haven't got very far. I'm going to try and watch it as soon as I can so I can bring a review out of that. And then we've got Power Rangers coming out on Friday, I believe, so look out for a review of that. And I'll see you guys in the next video.